Inner peace is often seen as the ultimate goal of spiritual growth. It is the state we aspire to. Calm, serene, unaffected by the turbulence of the world around us. We imagine that peace means finding an escape from the chaos of a life, retreating from the noise and stress, and finally arriving at a place of tranquility. But Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, understood that true inner peace is not found by avoiding the chaos of life. In fact, he argued that it is only by embracing chaos that we can experience true peace. Jung's view of inner peace was radically different from the conventional perspective. He believed that peace cannot be achieved by simply suppressing or running away from the chaotic forces within us and in the world around us. Instead, peace arises from the acceptance and integration of these chaotic elements into our psyche. To achieve true inner peace, we must first face the very chaos that we seek to avoid. At the core of Jung's understanding is the concept of the unconscious. He believed that the unconscious mind is full of untamed forces, desires, fears, repressed emotions, and unresolved conflicts that are often in direct opposition to the conscious mind's need for order, control, and structure. The ego, the part of the psyche that governs our conscious sense of self, tries to maintain control by keeping these unconscious elements hidden, repressed, or denied. This is where the struggle begins. The more the ego attempts to suppress the chaos within, the more it grows in power, manifesting in forms of anxiety, stress, depression, and inner conflict. The result is a false sense of peace, one that is achieved at the cost of denying the truth of who we are. Jung's concept of individuation, the process of becoming the whole, authentic self, is central to understanding his perspective on inner peace. Individuation involves the integration of the unconscious with the conscious self. It requires us to confront the aspects of ourselves that we have denied, repressed, or rejected. This process inevitably brings us into contact with the chaotic and unpredictable forces of our unconscious mind. It forces us to confront the parts of ourselves that are messy, complicated, and uncomfortable. It challenges the ego's need for control and order, forcing us to surrender to the full complexity of our being. Jung understood that true inner peace does not come from controlling or eliminating the chaos within us. Rather, it comes from acknowledging and integrating these chaotic forces. When we face our fears, our desires, our unresolved conflicts, and our repressed emotions, we begin to understand them, not as enemies to be vanquished, but as parts of ourselves that need to be understood, accepted, and embraced. In doing so, we transform these chaotic elements into sources of power, wisdom, and creativity. The reason why embracing chaos is so essential to inner peace is because the chaos within us is not inherently bad. It is not something to be feared or rejected. It is part of the natural flow of life. Jung saw the unconscious as a vital source of energy, creativity, and transformation. The unconscious is not something to be controlled or eliminated. It is something to be explored, understood, and integrated. When we suppress or deny the chaos within, we are cutting ourselves off from this vital source of energy. But when we confront and embrace it, we open ourselves up to deeper levels of self-awareness, creativity, and transformation. True inner peace is found not in the absence of chaos, but in the ability to hold space for it. It is about finding a place of stillness within the chaos, where we can observe it, understand it, and allow it to move through us without being overwhelmed by it. This is the essence of Jung's concept of the inner union, the integration of opposites within the psyche. The peaceful individual, according to Jung, is not someone who has eradicated all conflict or disorder. Rather, it is someone who has learned to live with the contradictions, paradoxes, and uncertainties of life, accepting them as part of the whole. True peace arises from the harmony between the conscious and unconscious, between order and chaos, between light and shadow. One of the reasons we resist embracing chaos is because it threatens our sense of control. The ego thrives on predictability, structure, and stability. It fears the unknown and resists anything that challenges its carefully constructed sense of self. Chaos, by its very nature, is unpredictable and disruptive. It shakes the foundation of our identities and forces us to confront the things we fear most: our vulnerability, our mortality, and our lack of control over the world around us. The ego wants to avoid these confrontations at all costs because they threaten the image it has of itself. However, Jung understood that it is through this confrontation with chaos that we come to realize the limits of the ego. The more we try to control or suppress chaos, the more it gains power over us. The more we accept it, the more we can integrate it into our lives in a way that serves our growth. True inner peace comes when we recognize that we are not in control of everything, and that the very chaos we fear is a natural part of the human experience. This understanding of chaos as an essential part of life is central to Jung's philosophy. He believed that the conflicts and challenges we face in life are not just obstacles to be overcome, but opportunities for transformation. Each crisis, each moment of chaos, is a chance for us to confront our shadows, to expand our consciousness, and to grow into the fullness of who we are. Jung believed that life itself is inherently chaotic, and that peace comes not from escaping this chaos, but from learning to navigate it with awareness, grace, and wisdom. In the face of chaos, Jung encouraged us to practice patience, acceptance, and surrender. True, peace does not come from trying to fix the world or to impose order on every situation. It comes from cultivating an inner calm that remains undisturbed by external circumstances. This inner calm is not the same as passivity or resignation. It is the stillness that arises when we learn to sit with uncertainty, to hold space for the unknown, and to trust that we are being guided by something greater than the ego's need for control. Embracing chaos on the spiritual path is also about recognizing the impermanence of life. Life is constantly changing, shifting, and evolving. The ego wants stability, but the truth is that nothing in life is fixed. Everything is in a constant state of flux. By embracing this truth, we free ourselves from the anxiety and fear that arise from the illusion of control. We learn to ride the waves of life rather than fight against them. We stop resisting change and start flowing with it, trusting that the chaos will eventually give way to clarity and order. As you continue to embrace the chaos within and around you, another shift begins to occur. What was once feared as something destructive or threatening becomes understood as a natural force of transformation. Jung's concept of chaos is not that of disorder for the sake of destruction. Rather, it is the raw, untamed potential that exists before order is established. When we embrace the chaos, we step into a space where transformation is possible, where our old identities, beliefs, and patterns can be shattered, and where new ways of being can emerge. This process is not without difficulty, but it is essential for our spiritual growth. Jung saw chaos as a crucible, a place where raw materials undergo the intense heat necessary for transformation. This is where we encounter the archetypal forces of the unconscious. These forces, often symbolized in dreams or myth, represent the primal energies of our psyche that are both powerful and chaotic. At first, these forces may seem overwhelming or terrifying. They may manifest as emotional turbulence, existential confusion, or deep personal crises. Yet, Jung understood that these chaotic experiences are not something to be feared or avoided. They are gateways to a deeper understanding of ourselves and our connection to the universe. As we allow ourselves to experience the chaos without resistance, we begin to realize that it is through this very process of disintegration that we come to know ourselves more fully. The parts of us that were once hidden or repressed begin to surface, and we are forced to reckon with them. This is where the ego's grip on our lives begins to loosen. The more we face the chaos within, the more we realize that we are not our ego. We are not the persona we present to the world, nor are we the roles we play in our relationships or careers. We are something deeper, something more authentic. This deeper self is not static or fixed. It is dynamic, fluid, and alive with potential. This realization is liberating, but it also comes with a sense of vulnerability. To live in alignment with our deeper self means to step outside the confines of the ego and the familiar. It requires us to embrace uncertainty, to let go of the need for control, and to accept that life is full of contradictions and paradoxes. Jung understood that embracing the chaos within is the only way to experience true freedom. When we stop resisting life's natural flow and allow ourselves to be shaped by the forces that arise from within and around us, we become more attuned to our authentic self and to the wisdom that resides within us. Embracing chaos is also a path to integrating our shadow. The shadow is not just the negative or destructive parts of ourselves that we have repressed. It is also the parts that hold untapped potential, the chaotic forces within us, our wildest desires, our deepest fears, our repressed anger and sadness, are often the parts of us that contain the greatest power for transformation. When we suppress these aspects, we create inner conflict, dissonance, and stagnation. But when we embrace them and integrate them into our conscious awareness, we free up energy that was once locked in opposition. We become whole, and in this wholeness, we find peace. Jung often emphasized the importance of embracing the tension between opposites. Life is full of contradictions, joy and sorrow, light and dark, order and chaos. And it is only by accepting and integrating these opposites that we can achieve true inner peace. Peace does not come from eliminating one side of the equation or denying the existence of chaos. It comes from the ability to hold space for both sides and to allow them to coexist within us. This is the essence of Jung's concept of the union of opposites. The more we integrate these opposites, the more we transcend the duality of life and move toward a state of wholeness. This process of integrating opposites is not a quick or easy journey. It requires us to face our deepest fears, confront our darkest desires, and question the very foundations of our identity. But it is through this process of disintegration and reintegration that we achieve true spiritual growth. It is through chaos that we experience the alchemical transformation that leads to greater self-awareness, authenticity, and inner peace. One of the paradoxes of embracing chaos is that it allows us to let go of the need for control. We may think that peace comes from having everything figured out, from having a clear plan and a predictable future. But Jung understood that true peace arises when we stop trying to control everything. It arises when we surrender to the unknown, when we trust that life has its own rhythm and flow. The more we embrace the chaos, the more we come to understand that we do not need to have all the answers. We do not need to control the outcome of every situation. We only need to show up fully, with authenticity and openness, ready to face whatever arises. This shift in perspective is deeply freeing. It is the freedom to be present in the moment, without the constant anxiety about the future or the need to manipulate the past. It is the freedom to be yourself, without the burden of maintaining a false persona or fulfilling societal expectations. The more we embrace chaos, the more we learn to trust the process of life, knowing that every experience, every challenge, every crisis, every moment of uncertainty is an opportunity for growth and transformation. In the face of chaos, we learn to develop a sense of inner stillness. This stillness does not come from a place of escape or avoidance. It comes from the ability to remain centered in the midst of uncertainty, to maintain a deep connection to our inner self while navigating the turbulence of life. This stillness is the foundation of true inner peace. It is the peace that arises not from external circumstances, but from within. As you continue to embrace the chaos of life, you will find that your ability to tolerate uncertainty and discomfort increases. You begin to live with greater flexibility, knowing that life is constantly changing and that you are capable of navigating whatever comes your way. You no longer feel the need to avoid the challenges that arise, because you understand that they are an integral part of the process of growth and transformation. Chaos becomes something to welcome rather than fear, because you know that it is through chaos that you will find the deepest parts of yourself and the most profound peace. As you continue to integrate the chaos within and around you, a deep shift begins to occur within your psyche. The chaos that once seemed overwhelming and destructive begins to be seen in a new light. Instead of fearing it, you begin to recognize it as an essential part of the natural order, a force of transformation, renewal, and growth. This shift in perception is key to achieving true inner peace. When we embrace chaos, we no longer resist the natural flow of life. Instead, we learn to flow with it, accepting that change, unpredictability, and uncertainty are inherent to existence. Jung believed that the human psyche is dynamic, constantly evolving and transforming. The process of individuation, the journey toward becoming the whole, authentic self, requires us to embrace the forces of chaos and the unconscious. These forces, while often disruptive, are not enemies to be conquered. They are powerful energies that, when integrated, can lead to profound healing, creativity, and growth. This integration allows us to move beyond the constraints of the ego and experience a deeper connection to ourselves and to the world around us. Embracing chaos also means embracing the impermanence of life. We often seek stability, predictability, and control because we are afraid of change. But true inner peace comes when we accept that life is fluid and ever-changing. Everything, including ourselves, is in a constant state of flux. We are not static beings. We are dynamic, evolving creatures, constantly adapting to new experiences and challenges. The more we resist this flux, the more we suffer. But when we learn to embrace it, we can find peace in the midst of uncertainty. The freedom that comes from embracing impermanence is the freedom to live in the present moment, without attachment to the past or anxiety about the future. Jung's idea of the self is integral to understanding how we find peace in the chaos. The self, for Jung, is the totality of who we are, both conscious and unconscious. It is not a static concept, but a dynamic, ever-evolving process. As we move toward wholeness, we integrate the opposites within us, the light and the dark, the known and the unknown, the order and the chaos. This integration is not about achieving perfection or transcendence. It is about accepting the full range of human experience, including the chaos, and learning to live with it in a balanced and harmonious way. True inner peace, then, is not the absence of conflict or disorder. It is the ability to remain centered and grounded in the midst of life's challenges. It is the peace that comes from accepting the chaos within us and around us, and learning to navigate it with grace and wisdom. This kind of peace does not come from escaping life's difficulties or trying to control everything. It comes from embracing the ebb and flow of life, knowing that the chaos we experience is a necessary part of our growth and evolution. Jung saw chaos as a force that is both creative and destructive. While it may seem unsettling at first, it is the source of all creation. The very act of creation itself is chaotic. New ideas, new ways of being, and new experiences emerge from the unpredictable, messy process of change. The more we embrace the chaos within us, the more creative and expansive we become. We are no longer confined by the rigid structures of the ego or the limitations of our old beliefs and patterns. Instead, we open ourselves to new possibilities, new ways of thinking, and new ways of being. This creative power of chaos can be seen in many areas of life. In our personal lives, it may show up as a sudden breakthrough or shift in perspective. We may experience moments of insight, creativity, and inspiration that arise out of the chaos of our thoughts, emotions, and experiences. In our relationships, embracing chaos means allowing the dynamic nature of human connection to unfold without trying to control or predict the outcome. Relationships are fluid, ever-changing, and require flexibility and adaptability. By embracing the unpredictable nature of our relationships, we open ourselves to deeper connections, greater intimacy, and more authentic interactions. The same principle applies to our professional and creative endeavors. True creativity comes from embracing the unknown, from stepping into the space of uncertainty where new ideas can emerge. The fear of chaos often holds us back from fully expressing ourselves creatively. But when we learn to embrace this chaos, we unlock the full potential of our creative power. The most transformative ideas and artistic expressions are often born from moments of chaos and disorder, when we allow ourselves to step into the unknown and take risks. Jung also believed that chaos was a vital force for the collective as well as the individual. The collective unconscious, with its shared myths, archetypes, and symbols, is a reflection of the deep, underlying chaos that exists within all of us. This chaos is not random. It is part of the larger pattern of life, guiding humanity toward deeper levels of understanding and growth. By embracing our own chaos, we contribute to the collective process of transformation and healing. Jung saw this process as essential to the evolution of the human race. When we confront our personal shadows and integrate the chaos within, we are also contributing to the healing of the collective unconscious. One of the most profound aspects of embracing chaos is the freedom it brings. Freedom is not the ability to escape or avoid life's challenges. It is the ability to face them head-on with courage and authenticity. When we embrace the chaos, we stop trying to control or manipulate life. We stop trying to fit into predefined roles and expectations. Instead, we allow ourselves to be fully present in the moment, to experience life as it comes, and to trust in the unfolding of the process. This freedom is not the absence of fear or discomfort, but the courage to face them, knowing that they are part of the path toward growth and self-discovery. Embracing chaos also means letting go of the illusion of control. The ego thrives on control. It wants to predict, plan, and organize everything in our lives. But true peace comes when we surrender the need for control and trust in the wisdom of the unconscious. The unconscious is not chaotic in a random or destructive sense. It is chaotic in a creative, generative way. It is the source of all life and creativity, and it holds the key to true freedom. When we learn to trust the unconscious and embrace the chaos within, we are able to tap into a deeper source of wisdom and creativity that transcends the limitations of the ego. In the end, embracing chaos is not about abandoning order or structure. It is about finding balance. It is about recognizing that both order and chaos are essential to life. Order provides stability, structure, and meaning, while chaos provides the creative force necessary for growth and transformation. True peace comes when we learn to live with both, the light and the dark, the order and the chaos, and allow them to coexist within us. In doing so, we find harmony and balance, and we come to understand that true peace is not the absence of chaos, but the ability to hold space for it, to integrate it, and to live with it in a way that is both liberating and transformative.